Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of this data analysis training. In today's video, we'll be talking about pandas and the basic pandas, what it does, and a few introduction to pandas. My name is Stanley and I'm the founder of Stan Analytics. And in this video, talking about pandas, like I've said earlier. So first, to talk about what pandas is, what it does, and how it can be used. So pandas is basically a Python library used for data analysis and data manipulation. So it's basically used to import data, edit your data, like cleaning your data sets, data manipulation basically, data editing, cleaning, data processing, and data exploration. And it can also be used to import data, like I've said, like for example an Excel or a CSV file. And when you want to work with pandas or any packages in Python, you have to first install the library. And the way to import the pandas is using the import function, which is import pandas as PD. Now talking about the data frame, list, and dictionary, then we talk about we'll come back to talking about the pandas, how we can use pandas to create a data frame, a list, and a dictionary, as well as some basic application of pandas as well. So what is a list? A list is basically a way of storing multiple items in a single variable. So it can store multiple data types. For example, you can store a string and an integer data type all in one list. While a list is basically a variable ordered and it can be editable. Like for example, let's look at this list that I created. I created a list of mango, a figure one, and an orange. I can try to edit this list and change it to, for example, an egg. And another thing to note about a list is that it is created using a square bracket. So and like I said, the importance of a list is for creating or storing multiple items in a single variable. And what do we mean by variable? This is a variable, and basically a variable is an observation, for example, that has been assigned a set of values to, and these are the set of values assigned to this list variable. And a tuple is basically a list, but the difference between a tuple and a list is that a tuple cannot be editable. For example, once you've created this tuple, you cannot edit it, and it's always created using a curly bracket or a round bracket. The next step is talking about the data frame, and you can see we are creating the tuple and a list because of it installed our pandas package, allowing us to create a list and a tuple, and same with the data frame. As you can see, this PD is indicating pandas, and without this pandas library we cannot be able to create our data frame. And data frame is basically more like an Excel file. Is basically a set of observations stored in rows and columns, into rows and columns, more like an Excel spreadsheet or a table in the database, mainly used for data analysis and manipulation. So it's, like I've said, it's basically like an Excel file, and these are the columns, while these are the observations that are going to be in the rows. So we have the fruits column containing all the different fruits. We have the quantity bought, for example, and the price of each fruit. Then this is our variable. We assigned this data frame to this variable, and to check all our data frame, we have to call back the variable. That's why I wrote print df. You don't necessarily need to write the print function. You can just write df and it's going to give you the values, like okay, like I did here when I imported data sets using pandas. So we've talked about pandas being able to create list, a tuple, and a data frame. Next step, we want to talk about pandas on is importing data sets. So data and pandas can be used to import an Excel file or a CSV file. And basic way to do it is create your variable name df. For example, you can try to name it df underscore one, depending on how you deem fit. Then pd, so the pandas string underscore excel, indicating that you are importing an Excel file. Then c underscore users, then your username. Mine is hp, that's why it is written that way. Then documents, This particular section is basically the folder in which your data set is actually present in. It's called CMD for short. So this is the path to your data sets, and this is your data set name. In my own case, it's an SQL intervention. Then the data type format is an Excel file, and this is the short code for an Excel file, XMX. If the CSV file is going to be a .csv, then when I run the code, I to view the data set, I have to call back the variable df. So obviously these are data sets, and pandas, when importing data sets in Python, is going to start with the row counting is going to start from 0. So this being 0 doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm just like trying to tell us just in case you might have an age in the future. Then you have an age, sex, and this sex is basically 2 indicating female and 1 indicating male. And what this basically does is it displays the first 5 rows and the last 5 rows basically. So you can, to view the first rows only, you just have to do df.add, and to view the last row you have to do df.tail basically. um, so it's as simple as that. Then the df.shape contains the rows and columns, so you have 80 rows and 17 columns. So then describe data type is basically for descriptive statistics. It's basically for descriptive statistics, and basically for quantitative variables, allowing us to check their age, average age, total age. And since you have 80 rows, every one of them is going to be 80, providing that none of them has a missing observation. That is, we are all accounted for every single one of our patients, and these their average values. These their standard deviation. Minimum value is 1. Minimum age is 18 years. Maximum age is 44 years of age, and these are quartile. This is 50% of our data set. This is our median. This is 25 quartile. This is 25 quartile. Then this is the data type. Majority of them are integers and floating. Basically, a number data type. So this is the very brief introduction to pandas, and I believe this can actually help us moving forward, furthering our knowledge on Python and data analysis and data science, depending on the field you want to jump into. So in our next class, we'll be talking about NumPy and how it's going to help us on data science and data analysis. So thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful weekend.